What if I told you I actually found I was getting better results building more muscle tissue without obsessing on the weight on the bar, the band tension, or even whatever the pin is set at on the weight stack? That precisely has been my experience for a very long time, more specifically into my 40s. Into my 30s, I was really heavily into strength training for a period of time, either trying to break some PRs or trying to hang out and maintain some of the heavier lifts I was lifting. And what I slowly started to discover, in which I'm going to somewhat share with you guys briefly in this video, is that once I stopped obsessing about these programs and these set weights and got back to more of a more instinctual version of training, of really not even knowing what was on the bar. In fact, that's what triggered this video. I got some new leg extension leg curl machine, and somebody commented on the odd weight increments on that stack, and to which I replied, I didn't even notice because I never really pay attention to what the weight is on that pin. I just set the pin. If it's too heavy, I'll drop it lighter. If it's too light, I'll drop it heavier on the next set. And that's exactly what I do even on this cable weight stack. Oftentimes I'll take the pin and I'll even put it on the opposite side where there's no numbers, because I don't even see the numbers and don't need the numbers. I'm going off of kind of a visual and also more importantly how it feels on that muscle. And to which some people might assume that maybe I'm tracking some specific rep range. Like I've heard people say like get between 8 and 12 or 8 and 20 or something like that. I sometimes will give out those general recommendations to some people, but even that, I have no idea what that rep range is. Sometimes the weight might be heavy and it might be lower reps, and sometimes the weight might be lower and I might be going into higher reps. It kind of depends on the exercise, the muscle, and how I'm feeling that particular day. So I just wanted to share with you guys in this video, because I think oftentimes when I get into this with people, they're either kind of surprised but also a little confused. But before I get into that though, guys, my name is Mike. This is a very new channel talking about, as you can see here, very simple, no nonsense ways to build and increase muscle mass or increase muscle definition into your 40s, perform better, all that stuff, but doing so in a very easy way, because that's the thing. Just like this video, I've found many times that some of the simplistic, easiest approaches are actually giving off some of the biggest results. And the most complicated, regimented, most disciplined approaches are actually hindering people in their gains, or at the very least causing people to stop and not be consistent. So the point number one is that effort matters more than weight on the bar. We can go super heavy with lower repetitions, or we can go more towards failure with moderate or lighter loads and higher repetitions. The choice is kind of really up to you. And there's always kind of a risk reward and also a certain time and place for taking advantage of any of those methods. But regardless how you cut it, you may have known somebody that as you first start out, people just want to add a little more weight to the bar and they do a little more, and that kind of gives them that satisfaction. And nothing wrong with that, but there is a point of diminishing returns, and I've learned this the hard way in some ways. Luckily, by the grace of God, never been injured in any shape or in any serious way in the weight room, but came pretty close. And the time I was the closest was when I was following a very popular strength program to a T. Even though my form looked good, I was coached by one of the best in the world. He gave me the green light saying everything's looking good, but internally stuff was just really hurting. And so once I took a step back from that and I said, you know what, I'm not trying to be a competitive powerlifter, I'm not trying to be the strongest person in the world, I just want to put on lean body tissue, look good, feel good, etc. And I found going back to the roots here, which is getting into quality effort, quality work, and being consistent, actually paid off way more and actually gave me way more what I was looking for in the first place, which is better body composition, still great strength, but also feeling fresh that I could actually do the basic things of life, that it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to keep chasing those PRs when I really just wasn't looking as good and also was not feeling as good. So when I'm saying effort, I'm not of course saying that weight and doing some sort of progression isn't necessary, but there's all sorts of ways to progress. I could increase the rep range, I could increase the sets, I could increase the time under tension, and those are all very valuable tools that can work for you to really find the best exercise possible that's going to stimulate the most amount of stress to that given body part that you're working. The next thing, which is really focusing more so on quality reps. And what do I mean by quality reps? Quality in the sense that I could choose a number of exercises to say just work my biceps. What makes it quality for me is what is the exercise that works a nice, decent, full range of motion, and sometimes it doesn't have to always be a full range of motion, but primarily a range of motion that is consistently stressing my muscle throughout that exercise, versus something that maybe is kind of torquing a certain thing or maybe aggravating an elbow or a forearm that I'm not really feeling the desired stimulus on my muscle. I'm feeling some aches and tweaks around my joints to compensate for that little bit of nice stress that I'm getting in that exercise. And if you guys follow me long enough, or if you work with me one-on-one, I do have a list of exercises I do think are best for most people, but my point is that list might shift a little bit based on your individual preferences and or needs. That leads me into the next thing that is always going to be important and always going to be front and center on this channel, is consistency. If you're just purely chasing PRs, You're not allowing any room for manipulation of exercises or exercise variables like reps, sets, and tempo, etc. You're more likely to not be consistent. You either burn yourself out, it will not be interesting, or worse yet, you'll get injured. So the final takeaway, and what I personally adopt, is using smarter variations of exercises and also just simply listening to your body. Very easy tip I give to most people is if I do not feel in that given exercise, if it is not a quality exercise, when I say quality, again, it's something that is an exercise that is stimulating the muscle that I'm intending to work, not causing me any joint pain. Might not be the most perfect exercise in that session. I'm not overanalyzing it for more than 30 seconds. There's probably better things I could choose in a workout, especially at limited time. But if there is an exercise I'm doing that I'm just not quote unquote kind of feeling that exercise, or it's aggravating something, I'm not going to keep doing it. I will call an audible. I will do something else, and that is just me listening to the body. Some days as well, you might be coming in here and you may not be fully recovered. Of course, we all know, recovery is really the name of the game. Sometimes you don't really know how this whole situation works, because there's days where I had limited sleep, had a long day, and somehow I had the best workouts possible. And there's other days where I have really a lot of long sleep. I took 2 days off and the workouts are just not good. So that gets into the plan will always have to adjust according to that day. And that's how I approach each session. If there's some days where I want to do more multi-joint, heavier stuff, say with squat and deadlift or bench, whatever, and even them, not really pushing the heavier weights. If I did that on one leg day, the next leg day, I know that repeating that same pattern just is not going to feel the best. I'll do something that is a little more either different exercises, or I'll do things that are more single joint exercises, maybe such as leg extension, leg curls, calves, or I'll do a little more than I would have normally done if I would have incorporated those other multi-joint exercises. Point is, I called something different, some sort of variation based on how I was feeling that day. If I do go in there though and I feel pretty fresh and I feel like, I feel like I want to squat, I feel like I want to deadlift today, no problem, just give it a go and you'll just listen to your body and see what happens. And you may have had the intention like, man, I want to go in there, wanted to hit 315 or put 225 in the bar or whatever that might be, and maybe it's just feeling heavy that day. Instead of just canceling the workout completely and then taking a gamble if you come back actually fresh than you were, instead of that, you actually could just drop the weight, say to 135 or a single plate in the bar, and just do a little bit more higher repetitions with a lower intensity and maybe even lower the tempo a little bit. So just adjust the variable accordingly. Because unless you're competing for competitive bodybuilding, these types of adjustments are really not going to make a big deal. At the end of the day, it's all about accumulated stress over a given period of time. And like I said at the start of the video, you can do that in so many different ways. Hopefully this video was informative. If you guys want to see anything else that is related to this, let me know. If you got any questions about this, drop a comment down below, but I will see you guys on the next one.